19-year-old Michael Loreno and 24-year-old Jackson Vogel were paired in the same cell only a few hours before Loreno was found hanging from the cell's top bunk with his hands and ankles tied together. That's according to a criminal complaint, which also shows Vogel admitted to a Brown County Sheriff's Sergeant he killed Loreno because he was bored and he checked all the boxes, listing derogatory terms for Loreno's sexual orientation and race. Vogel also stated he always thinks about killing people, referred to the killing as creating ecstasy, strangling someone, and then hog-tying them like a pig, and he wanted to kill Loreno the first day he met him, which was a couple days prior. Vogel is serving a 20-year sentence for trying to kill his mother in Two Rivers in 2016. Loreno was serving a 3-year sentence for crimes in Waukesha and Columbia counties, including robbery, use of force, first-degree recklessly endangering safety, and substantial battery. Adam Bell, who is serving a 3-year sentence at GBCI for a stalking conviction, wrote Fox 11 a letter stating he can guarantee if a white guy was put in Vogel's cell, he'd still be alive, and Loreno wouldn't have had his life taken. Bell also states staff is putting people with short time in cells with people who pretty much have life and have nothing to lose. He also alleges staff is mixing races in cells, knowing it will cause problems.
When you get these letters from these offenders, you got to remember one thing, that they're typically not in there for missing Sunday school, okay?
Joe Vertigan worked as a corrections officer at GBCI for almost 27 years, having retired in 2020. He has since wrote a book about his experiences at the prison. Vertigan says there were no set guidelines for pairing inmates in cells.
When I was there, it was, our bosses, our captains and lieutenants would tell us that we could not discriminate. I mean, sometimes we'd have to put rival gang members together. It didn't matter because it was a short-term thing.
Vertigan believes Loreno and Vogel were likely paired together short-term based on where in the prison the incident occurred. The Department of Corrections tells Fox 11 the pair had previously shared a cell without incident. The department also says neither individual had any past incidents with cellmates. The DOC says upon intake, inmates are screened for their risk of victimization or assaultive behavior under the Federal Prison Rape Elimination Act. Someone who is at risk is not paired with someone assessed as being at risk of performing that type of behavior. The DOC also states segregating housing units based on race would almost certainly be unconstitutional.
It was typical to sell up, different races, different religions. I mean, we tried to avoid that, but sometimes if we were short on bed space, sometimes we didn't have a choice. So sometimes staff's hands are a bit tied, so to speak. That may have been what happened here, but I cannot say for sure. I can tell you this, we've had 2 inmate-on-inmate deaths in 2 years. That's very concerning, to put it mildly.
Vertigan is referring to an October 2022 death. Joshua Skolman was convicted of fatally stabbing Timothy Neighbors as a hate crime using a handmade knife made from a bed frame. The incident happened in a prison stairwell, not a cell. Should there be some sort of rule or standard for how you pair inmates?
I worked as an extra in a cell hall, and what that meant, you were like the right-hand man of the sergeant. We always tried to rely upon our common sense typically.
The DOC says any individual who feels unsafe is able to request to be moved for their safety. Those requests are evaluated immediately, and moves are made if needed. Neither Loreno or Vogel requested to be moved.